Well, great. It's great. It's wonderful for me to be here. I guess I travelled 30 hours to go through Europe and then finally end up in Dublin. It's a fantastic city to be. What I'm going to be talking about today is accessible augmented reality. But just so I get to know my audience a little bit, how many of you have heard of augmented reality before? Wow. How many of you have built an augmented reality system? Okay, well, by the end of the talk tonight, in 18 minutes, you'll each learn how you can build your own AR interface in a matter of a few minutes, and I'll give you a live demonstration of that as well. So those of you who are in the audience who want to build an augmented reality system, you can go home tonight and you can build your own system before you go to bed. So, last year during the American presidential elections, we saw some examples of that, and so here's an example from CNN where this guy had the Billboard card. He turned it over and suddenly this 3D image of a pie chart appeared superimposed on his card there. And a more practical example perhaps is from a medical application where you can look inside the patient's ankle and you can see a 3D volumetric visualization of the bone, and it makes it appear like it's inside the ankle. So this is in March 2007, the MIT Tech Review picked it as one of the 10 most exciting technologies of the year. If you do a Google Trends on augmented reality, something happened around January this year, and suddenly the relative search for augmented reality quadrupled, and so we've got 4 times as many people looking at augmented reality since then. I'll tell you why that happened in a minute. And then Gartner has their hype cycle where they track technologies through the technology trigger phase, through this trough of digital illusionment, and finally the peak of productivity. And you can see augmented reality is right here. So we've got this trough in here. So my passion in life, I guess, is to try and get it from here over to here as quick as possible so that we can all benefit. And that's where you come in. So hopefully you can help me with that. In Star Wars, they had this great scene in the first movie where Darth Vader is phoning one of his starship captains, and the starship captain appears as this 3D hologram standing beside him in front of him in space. And you can actually see it's a virtual image because you can see right through the starship captain and see the wall behind him. In the third, well, I guess the 6th now, Star Wars movie, all the people are coming together for a conference, and instead of showing PowerPoint, they're loading their augmented reality 3D model of the new Death Star, and they're planning out how to destroy the Death Star. So when I saw these things as a young lad, I was immediately inspired and thought, boy, I'd really love to be able to do that. But it turns out it's really technically difficult to do that, especially if you don't have the budget of Lucas film. But in order to do this, there are 2 important key problems you need to solve. You need to know where you're looking, so we need to know exactly where the person is and where they're looking, so we can make a virtual image that appears to be stuck in the real world. And secondly, once we've got the 3D model of the Death Star appearing in front of us, we need to know how to interact with this content. When I was in university having this dream of trying to build systems like this, I met this fellow here. And this is a man called Hirokazu Kato, and he's a whole lot smarter than I am, and he certainly is very, very smart when it comes to computer graphics. So, given that we wanted to solve these 2 problems, about 10 years ago, him and I worked together to develop a piece of software called AR Toolkit. AR Toolkit is a computer vision library that takes black square markers, like this one here that has hero on it, and it can find out the position of a real camera relative to this marker. It's very simple. You take the live video input into your computer, it turns that input into a black and white image, just black or white, and then in that image it tries to find, the image processing tries to find the squares. Once you find a square, you can find the 4 corners of the square, and if you know those 4 corners lie on a flat plane, then you can do some pretty simple mathematics and figure out where the real camera is relative to the piece of paper. So now you know that, you basically know where the person's viewing the paper from. Then the second step is to take your virtual gerbil here and position the virtual camera viewpoint at exactly the same spot as the real camera. So because the virtual camera and the real camera are now aligned, you can combine the graphics with the video together, and hey presto, your gerbil appears to be stuck on this little black square. Now, of course, you don't want gerbils on all of your squares, so the other step is that in the middle of the square there's a unique pattern, and you do some pattern identification to say that, this is the Japanese kanji pattern, this is the hero pattern, and so forth. So we developed mostly him developed that piece of software which solved these 2 difficult problems. Where is the person looking, and how can you interact? And when we did that, I then went and solved the Star Wars problems. So the first example from Star Wars was Darth Vader calling his starship captain and making the person appear in front of him as a 3D hologram. So about 8 years ago, we took that software and we had the idea, wouldn't it be neat when you call your friends, if you put the business card down, you'd see your friend appearing out on top of a business card, and you could build your own little spatial conferencing system together and have your friends around you in space. And so we did that. This is a video of a guy making Lego bricks. And with Lego, there's a problem. So you've got the Lego book, and some people are spatially challenged. And when you look at the picture of in the Lego book, they can't figure out how the bricks go together because it's a 2D picture of a 3D scene. So in our version of the Lego book, when you look at these black square markers here, you can see an animated 3D image of the Lego bricks coming together on the marker. And if he wants to, he can pick it up and he can look at it from any angle and he can understand how the objects come together. But this guy is not very Lego capable, so he's going to call the Lego helpline for some help. So here's the Lego helpline. So he's got a business card, he turns the business card over, there's another one of these little markers, and hey presto, the nice woman from Lego helpline pops up and starts talking to him in Japanese and giving him a hand with his problem. What we also do is we take the live video feed from his camera and we feed it back to her so she can see through his eyes and help him solve his Lego problem. So that was the first Star Wars problem solved, getting the remote person to appear in the same space as you. And then of course the second one was that you and all your buddies stand around the table and you can see virtual objects on the table in your midst. So about in 1999 we developed this application for Siggraph. And it was a simple card game application. You stand on the table, you turn cards over, and on the cards you would see virtual characters. And the goal was to match the characters together. A very old, grainy video, but you can see there's a little alien appearing on this little card here. And there he is. And so that the task is to work with your friend to find the card that belongs with the alien. So the key is that you can see your friend across the table as well. So it's just like having a face-to-face meeting, but now the virtual content appears on the table between you. So here's a broken heart, and obviously the broken heart and the alien doesn't go together, so when she puts those together, nothing's going to happen. Now, when you look at this virtual content, she's seeing the alien from the front and can see in his eyes, and he's seeing it from the back, so you can see the backside of the alien. So it's just like the Star Wars example, where you can get everybody around the table, and if I wanted to, I could replace the alien with a Death Star, and we could reenact that scene. Okay, here's a UFO, and you can bet the alien and the UFO go together. So when you put the two together, hey presto, your little animation of an alien flying around the Earth, zapping it with. This is about the same year that Independence Day came out, so it was kind of a take on that.